Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good evening. It is Thursday, May the 18th, 2023 at 9:58 and 40 seconds p.m. So 21:58:45. Hope everybody's had a good day and has had a good evening. I ran out for a little bit and met up with some friends, catch up a little bit. Don't get out too much these days, but when I do, I like to meet up with some friends and just catch up a little bit. So just got back home. It was quite crowded out tonight. Like when I pulled onto my road heading out to where I live and everything, it was pretty crowded. There was maybe like a mile long line of cars in front of me on a sort of a road heading out of the city. So I guess everybody was out to dinner or open mic nights or whatever. So back home, as I've said in the past, I used to do a lot of political talk, and I've been trying to stay away from it a little bit, but I think I'm going to do one tonight. After listening to some congressional House hearings and Senate hearings on YouTube, I figure I'll do one tonight. And so I have some tabs lined up on my browser that I'm going to sort of go through and opine on. So I guess let's get started. So let's start with Trump. Over the past couple months, well, a month or two now at least, they've Alvin Bragg in New York has put these 34 felony charges against Trump for, let me go to the browser here. Donald Trump, this was written back on the April 5th, so about over a month ago, but last week we learned Donald Trump had been charged with a crime. We now know the president faces 34 counts of falsifying business records. And it has to do with the Stormy Daniels payoff that his attorney, Michael Cohen, paid to adult film star Stormy Richards just before the 2016 election in order to prevent her from talking about the allegations. Of course, having an affair is not illegal, and paying hush money is not illegal. But I guess, they're trying to say that the way it was paid was bad. But Michael Cohen, his attorney, in a separate thing, was found guilty and in jail for a while. I'm not going to pull that. I should have pulled it up, but I'm not going to. But he's already a known liar. He's lied to Congress. He's already a known liar. So, by a lot of my liberal friends' standards, especially one that I just blocked the other day because he's just so off the wall and rabid that I blocked him just so I didn't have to think about his misaligned views on the world. But but basically he told me the other day that when I brought up the Biden Tara Reade rape allegation, now it wasn't like full on, rape, but it was, but she accused Biden of, digitally with his digits, violating her back when she was I guess he was a senator. So when he was like when he was a senator and she was like an intern or whatever for his office, he did that to her. He confronted her and again, not going to get into too much detail, but did that to her. So that was not a long time ago, and she came out with her story a long time ago, and she filed charges in Congress against him. But, he was young, new senator, powerful, and it sort of got brushed under the rug and everything. But she did tell her mother, and her mother's corroborated that she took, there's a lot of corroboration, but now over the last year since the allegation resurfaced, a lot of people are saying that she's lied under oath on other things, nothing to do with the case that she has against Biden, but They try to make her out to be an untrustworthy person when it comes to, saying what happened to her. What happened to, like, Believe All Women, what happened to Me Too and stuff for her. But it doesn't count in many mainstream media's eyes because it's she's going against one of their own, against Biden, against one of the Democrats. So they dismiss her completely. Pretty sad. But yet, and that's another tab I didn't pull up, but yet we have the recent case in the last week or so that against Donald Trump by the woman that accused him of much the same. Not that he full on, I'm probably already going to be shadow banned, but he didn't full on rape her, but said that he did something similar to her that Biden did to Tara Reade in like a dressing room at, it's not Saks Fifth Avenue. It's one of the other big stores up in New York. And everybody believed her. The media went crazy about it. It went to court, it went to a jury, and the jury, they didn't find him guilty of rape, but they found him liable for sexual assault. So he's not going to get any criminal charges, are not going to stick. And he's even appealing, I think, the charges that came down last week. So, and they'll probably be dismissed because unlike Tara Reade, who accused Biden, this woman who accused Trump of much the same, after the fact, instead of reporting it and, coming out with her story or whatever, she actually continued to sort of praise Trump. He's a great guy. I love Trump, And let me Google that one actually because I don't even remember her name. Trump accuser. Let's pull that up. Kissing her. Let's see. Trump. Yeah, E. Jean Carroll. E. Jean Carroll. And it's funny when you type in certain keywords, it does the autocomplete for you. But when you type it, especially against Trump or people who are accusing Trump, it does all these different things. But so actually, while I'm here, E. Jean Carroll, let me try the same thing for like Biden. Let's see, like Tara Reade. Okay, all they have is like allegation, one thing. And then they have like one with a year. So Tara Reade, 1993. So two things that would possibly link to, Tara Reade accusing Biden. But when you go to the E.G. Carroll, and this is DuckDuckGo, which is supposed to be pretty non-biased and everything, but you do this one, E.G. Carroll. Let's see, Carroll. Young, photos, lawsuit latest, trial. There's at least double the amount. So, okay, but let's do like Twitter. Well, I'll praise Trump because after this incident supposedly happens, here it is. Trump's defense grills E.G. Carroll an old social media post that she posted after it happened. Let's see if they have a screenshot or anything. Probably not. It's NBC. And of course, they want me to turn off my ad blocker, and I'm not going to. So they don't get my business. Let's find one here. They're probably not going to show it, probably not going to find it anywhere in the top matches. But basically, like when he was on TV, on The Apprentice and stuff, she posted stuff on Twitter basically like praising him and I love his show. I love Donald Trump, so on and so forth. And then now that she's needed by the left, she comes out all like she's a victim. And I'm not saying if it really did happen, I'm not saying she wasn't, but just the way she carried herself and praised him and continued to tweet out that she loves Donald Trump and everything. And after the fact, it shows more than anything that she's probably like a jilted person. Maybe she tried to make a move on him And as Donald Trump said in his deposition, which was released, that he didn't like her, not his type, And at the time she was married, stuff like that. Because I guess Trump sort of knew her husband, ex-husband, I don't know what it is now. But yeah, so that's, okay, let's move on from that one. Okay, well, yeah, so moving to the current time, you have all the stuff going on with the 34 felony charges for Trump. And they're focusing, the mainstream media is focusing on this like nothing other. But now, nothing I don't think's come out of this. It hasn't come down yet, like a ruling or a judgment. But then if you move out to Biden at the same time frame, the Biden, not just Joe or Hunter, but Hallie, which is Beau Biden's, Hunter's brother's ex-wife, who is now slept with or is having a relationship with Hunter, which is weird. And then like 6 other Bidens or 5 other Bidens on top of that, they all receive money from foreign sources. So the bank, it says here, the bank's filed 170 suspicious activity reports on the Biden bank transactions. Is that all it says? Hold on. If so, that's a bad article. Should have read that one before I... Okay, well, let's listen to Jim Jordan. He'll sum it up.
The reports. The key word in that phrase is the word suspicious. There are 170 of those reports, many of them put together by the Treasury Department of our government in the Obama-Biden administration. So 170 of those that the committee has reviewed, thousands of pages of bank records the committee has reviewed, and that has told us that there are now multiple, as Mr. Donalds just said, multiple LLCs receiving money from foreign entities and paying that money out to multiple members of the Biden family. And the fundamental question is the one Byron just raised. For what? What did they do? What was the business? What service did they provide? What value did they add? What did they do to warrant receipt of the money? That is the fundamental question, and no one seems to have an answer to that fundamental question. But Mr. Comer, Chairman Comer, and the team, that's what we're looking into, trying to get. And I would just say this, too. Why not just come clean? Why not just be honest with us? Why not tell us the truth? But I would tell you this. I think it's a reports.
Okay, they cut it a little bit short there, but pretty much what he said sums it up, And if you're not a fan of Jim Jordan, if you don't like him, if you're on the opposite side, if you're a Democrat, leftist, or liberal, those are 3 different things now. You can be a Democrat and be moderate and somewhat normal, or a leftist, which is a little further aside, more progressive, stuff like that, then you can be like a liberal's more, just a little bit more liberal, a little bit more progressive. Then you could be like a full-on leftist, full-on radical, like the gang of 5, Alexandria and Cory Bush and the one from Minnesota, from Somalia or whatever, I forget her name, but you can even support them. But whether you like Jim Jordan or not, what he stated there is the truth. There were 170 suspicious activity reports that were created by the banks that the Bidens banked with, that they found suspicious, and they submitted those to the U.S. Treasury Department, to the U.S. Treasury, because they felt that it was illegal activity, money laundering or whatever, just, general suspicious activity. 170. Now, me or you, us little people out here, if we had 1 or 2 or 3, the FBI would be coming down on us. They would be they would destroy your life. They would destroy everything. They would, you would be brought up and charged. Go away, fly. You would hear about it with just 1 or 2 or 3. 170 across 9 Biden family members that all came in from foreign sources. Many of them during Biden's vice presidency, when he was vice president for Obama. Some of them came in after his vice presidency, before he ran for president. That's suspicious, obviously, suspicious activity reports. But doesn't that warrant a further looking at? Now, even though those are government records from the Treasury, many of them, again, from the Treasury Department under Obama, submitted those. Or, they were submitted by the banks to the Treasury. Nothing ever came from it. There were no investigations. Nobody ever heard about it until the Republicans took the House recently in the midterms here. And they brought it out. Jim Comer, I believe, from Kentucky here. Jim Jordan, of course, helped champion that, and a number of other of the, I guess it's sort of the Republican gang. But fortunately, the Republican gang is actually looking into true criminal activity. They're not digging this stuff up. They're not making it up like they did the Trump-Russia collusion and the dossier and, against Trump, the Russia hoax. They're not just making this stuff up. And even that, over the past week with the Durham report, special counsel Durham came out and finally released his report and said that the entire Russia dossier, all that stuff was falsified. It was completely false. No grounds whatsoever. So basically the entire Russia collusion hoax is true and was confirmed true by the Durham guy. That can't be ignored either. But now a lot of the Democrats in the Senate, and I think even some in the House, are trying to discredit Durham now. When they lose, when even Durham, they were saying, like, wait for the Durham report, wait and everything. And then now that he's come out and they went against him, now they're trying to discredit Durham. I mean, it's absolute insanity. They're just trying to cover their own asses because they all lied, especially like Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler. They knew what they were saying was a lie. I think it was Schiff even said that I have proof of this, of what Trump did, the Russia collusion stuff. But he didn't. He doesn't. If he did, he would have released it a long time ago during the impeachments, the first or the second. I can't even remember now which one, but when Schiff said that. But if he would have had proof, then why didn't he present it? And then maybe Trump would have gotten, he got impeached, but he would have actually been knocked out of office. But it didn't happen because there was no proof. It was all a lie. Just like if me or you went to Congress and, we're under oath and all that stuff, and we lied to Congress, they could put you in jail for that. But then we have senators and congressmen up there lying just the same. I mean, they aren't sworn in before each other. They should be. Honestly, that should be a new bill they should put up. That, well, I'll admit that the Republicans probably fabricate and bend the truth, and some of them probably even lie, but so they probably wouldn't vote for this. But I think that every senator and every representative should be sworn in too before each hearing that what they're saying is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help them God. So maybe if they're under penalty of perjury or contempt of Congress, maybe they'll tell the truth too. Maybe on both sides, to be fair. So you got that, the suspicious activity reports. And you got the Hunter Biden laptop. And for some people who followed that may seem like old news. That was back in October before the 2020 elections. 51 intelligence figures came out and wrote a letter saying that, that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. Well, this past week or so, not only was it the letter that the 51 people signed, including the former CIA directors, former NSA, Director of National Intelligence, all those people, and even a few of them actually fessed up and said that it was political. We did it for political reasons. Well, that was 1 month before the election, less than a month probably before the 2020. And there were surveys taken after the the elections after Biden got in office, there was a survey taken of Democratic voters that said if the story would have been broke, if the media would have covered it, then I want to say it was anywhere from like 8 to 12% of Democrats said they would not have voted for Biden in the 2020 elections. And that would have swayed it. That would have turned it to Trump. Trump would have won. So that letter, which at least one of the people said was a politically driven letter, and I believe he was actually trying to come out with a book or something, and I think this was Anthony Blinken. He's now the Secretary of, not the Treasury, Secretary of State, maybe. Yeah, Tony Blinken. He told the person who signed it, who was coming out with a book, that basically will not support you. We will not support your book publication unless you sign the letter saying that the Hunter Biden laptop is Russian disinformation. So it was coerced. And that's just a few people that come out and admitted it. There's, again, probably 40 plus other people who have yet to comment or opine on why they signed the letter. And I'll bet you it's, if they told the truth, it would be like 95% would probably admit that it was a politically charged thing. So crazy. So the basically, and then the Hunter Biden, the Hunter Biden laptop, that's a loaded story. Because they tried to say it wasn't his. Forget the letter from the 51 people, but even like Hunter said, "Oh, it's not mine." But then he filed like an injunction to prevent the data from being released. Why would he do that if it was fake? You would only like do that if you knew it was yours, or otherwise, like any information that would be released if it was fake would be discredited. I said it was fake. They released it. It's fake. But no, they filed an injunction to stop the release of it, and wanted the return. Not only that, but they wanted them to return it. Well, if it wasn't his to begin with, why would they want it to be returned? That doesn't make any sense. So that basically proves it's true. And CBS confirms Hunter Biden laptop is real 769 days after the New York Post broke the story. And they go into that. And yeah, there's like pictures there. I mean, it's obviously his. Those are personal pictures. It's not something that, is faked. There's just so many of him like sitting there like shirtless or smoking or sleeping. I'm sort of wondering if he faked that picture or somebody else took it. There's him in his underwear. It's clearly a real laptop. So that's enough of that. There's so much to go into it. Unless I wrote out a whole script, I can't keep track of everything. So again, the name of my channel, DC Entropy, the measure of chaos. So that's pretty much what my video is here, just sort of me chaotically opining over the issues. But I guess now there were some whistleblowers that came out, and I think it was a House hearing, because I think Jim Jordan was the chairman, with the FBI whistleblowers about, specifically talking about, a lot of these topics of like, investigations being canceled or whatever when it comes to the Bidens, and where they weren't, what it was the Trumps and stuff. And there's a video I want to play here if it's synced up. I recorded this on my way out to town tonight, so let's play this.
Inspector General is now aware of the illegal and improper gag order that was issued on me that basically told me that I was not allowed to speak to my family or my attorney about the existence of an investigation.
So if one of your former colleagues is looking at this and watching this, and they have information that they think is subject to being shed light on with the American people, do you think how you've been treated would give them pause?
It has, and that's why they laundered the information to me, and that's how I've been able to expose more things now from the outside.
And Mr. O'Boyle, we just heard from your interaction with Mr. Gates and how all of this occurred and all of the hardships you've gone through. If one of your really good friends, your former colleagues, came to you and said, I have this thing that is being covered up, and I think the American people need to know about it, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them first to pray about it, long and hard. And I would tell them I could take it to Congress for them, or I could put them in touch with Congress, but I would advise them not to do it.
So you would legitimately try to protect one of your colleagues from doing what you have done?
Absolutely.
And how do you think that solves being able to shine light on corruption, weaponization, any kind of misconduct that exists with the American people?
It doesn't solve it. But the FBI will crush you. This government will crush you and your family if you try to expose the truth about things that they are doing that are wrong. And we are all examples of that.
I can't think of a more sobering way to end a hearing. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I want to thank, we say this every hearing that we thank the witnesses, but, and I mean it every time, but I really mean it. Thank you for coming forward, sharing your story, and standing up for the Constitution, doing your duty. We appreciate it. Mr. Levitt, thank you for your representation of these individuals. We thank you for the powerful testimony that you gave and the way you gave it and the way you've conducted yourselves. And with that, without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for witnesses or additional materials for the record. Without objection, the hearing is adjourned.
Wow. Wow. Just like Jeb said, it's a the other guy, it's a sobering way to end the hearing. That guy basically said that, the government, the U.S. government, if you whistleblow on them, will destroy you. Maybe I should back up to that section. It's crazy.
And your family.
Yeah, here we go.
You crush you. It doesn't solve it. But the FBI will crush you. This government will crush you and your family if you try to expose the truth about things that they are doing that are wrong.
Wow. That's probably one of the most powerful statements I've heard in a congressional or, hearing in a long time. And I watch a lot of them. I listen to a lot of them while I'm working and stuff. The one on the open AI people the other day, the Durham stuff. All the different ones, I listen to them, and some of them are 3, 4, 5, 6 hours long. Some of them gone even more, part 1, part 2 over multiple days. But that's probably the most powerful statement that I've heard in a long time. One more time here.
Light on corruption, weaponization, any kind of misconduct that exists with the American people.
It doesn't solve it. But the FBI will crush you. This government will crush you and your family if you try to expose the truth about things that they are doing that are wrong. And we are all examples of that.
I can't think of a more sobering way to end a hearing. I yield back.
Wow. Okay. There it is one last time. So think about that. Think about that. That's a guy. I don't know his background. I didn't, listen to this one yet from the beginning, but I believe he was like a former FBI guy or something, a former agent who whistle blew, and they destroyed him. And even his colleagues, he told them, give the information to me, save yourself. And as he said, launder the information to me, and I will be the one that will take the hit for it. Save yourself. Save your family. Don't let the government crush you. So I'm going to leave it at that. Everybody have a good night. Good day tomorrow. And peace out.